Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to
Hi.
another. Yeah. Hey, Bran. Another new episode of the Digital Rush.
Yep.
And I'm Krista Tidman.
And of course, I'm Brandon Cooper.
Hey guys, the Coop Man. Yeah. And just to let you in, we like to have our little small talk in the beginning. You know, why not? Get to know us. I wanted to let everybody know Brandon is expecting, and we're very excited for him. So congrats to Brandon.
Yep.
Congrats,
So
man.
what she's getting at is the next webinar.
Yes.
We'll play it by ear for right now, so we don't have a definite date just settled as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
We're thinking beginning of September, hopefully, because Brandon's got a little coupe on the way. A mini coupe. Yes,
Yep.
yes. So congrats for that. Yeah. But we're hoping also that his child, his daughter, baby girl, we're hoping she would love Semrush. And I feel like she will because he's an addict.
It's going to run in the family. So
Yeah. So for today, guys, we're going to discuss what 3 tools that you have to have set up in the projects.
Yep.
And what are they, Brandon?
Site audit, of course, for all your technical needs when it comes to anything,
yes.
with your site. The on-page SEO checker, of course, to cover your on-page SEO. I mean, it's right in the name. Yeah. And of course, the position tracking to start tracking some of those results.
There we go. And they're honestly, when we talk to clients and they ask us, what do we need to have set up now? We always get it. I think of immediately, the site audit, position tracking, and on-page SEO.
Mm-hmm.
They're the 3 first tools in the projects, and they're the ones that you definitely need to be focusing on first and foremost. Mm-hmm. What would you say with all of them?
Site audit.
Well, obviously
for good reason, and I'll explain that when we dive into the tool more in more detail. So
with the site audit, so that's how it's going to go today, guys. We're first going to start off with the site audit, how to set it up, how you should, why it's beneficial, and also little tips and tricks like what to look for that maybe you wouldn't think of. Mm-hmm. So with each tool, we'll go into that.
Yep.
So let's get a deeper dive and go into the tool together. All right, everyone. We are in the project section. You probably know it, and you probably have a million projects.
Right.
So this is our first section. We want to go through, we're using HBO. Good example, a lot of great shows right now. If you guys want to chat, any good shows that you like, I would love to hear.
Please do.
We always like to get new recommendations.
Yep, that's exactly it.
But so we're going to start off with the site audit. And what would you do, Brandon?
So during the site audit setup process, obviously this is something you should always pay attention to when you're first setting this up, because there's a lot of small things in here you may not notice. So, and what I mean by that, first off, crawl scope. Setting the crawl scope, by default, it already has all subdomains selected. But let's say, for instance, you just want to crawl your root domain. Well, you would need to check this off to do so. We do give you some very, very helpful examples if maybe you're not as knowledgeable with these type of things, but you still want to get an idea of how healthy your site is on a technical, from a technical standpoint. But looking at this, you'll get the root domain, subdomain, some examples surrounding that, and of course subfolders.
Oh yeah.
And subfolders can include, or also can be on subdomains. So that's why we also combine this together to kind of give you a little context.
Exactly.
On top of that, limit of check pages. Now, depending on how large your site is, this is something you always want to account for and kind of get an understanding of how many pages you should use, or what really the limit is that you should use. What I always recommend doing is, if let's say you have 1,000 pages on your site, as of right now, you have 1,000 pages on your site. Let's say you have 200 orphan pages, which orphan pages don't have any links going to them, so there's no internal linking structure associated with them, so that therefore they're orphaned. To kind of hone in on these and add them to your sitemap, or even get them inside of your internal linking structure and kind of fix that linking issue, I always recommend crawling more pages than what you have. So in this case, if you have 1,000 pages, you can set it for 2,000 if you need to. Very easily.
You recommend just the custom. Why not? When in doubt?
Here's the thing. You don't have to do that. You don't have to use custom.
You can go 5, but we're not going to crawl that.
Exactly. Right. So you could set it as 10,000. You only have 500 pages on your site.
So what?
When we crawl, we're only taking the limit of your pages crawled limit from your account.
We would not take the 10,000.
Yeah, we're not taking the 10,000 from you. No. So we're keeping it to the actual amount of pages we're actually crawling and we're taking from.
We wouldn't do like that. Yes, exactly. Yes.
So besides the limit of crawl, or check pages, better yet, sorry. I started with the next one, crawl source. Now there's 4 different ways to actually start crawling your website with Semrush.
Yeah.
One is simply going to the website, going to the page source and spidering out from there throughout all the, internal links and everything like there and kind of trying to analyze every file you have associated with your site. Sitemaps on site. So then what we'll do is we'll actually prioritize these and specifically find those associated with your site and then crawl those almost like you've given us a map.
Yes.
To crawl your site.
So I have to ask though, I mean, everyone does. I know there's a lot of options here. What do you prefer, or what do you tell? I mean, a beginner or someone just starting.
I tell
this?
everyone to crawl with the website to start, mainly because it's like a hierarchy area where you start crawling with the website, you get an idea of what is there, or what pages are crawlable.
What is even there?
Exactly, and then maybe the next crawl could be entering a sitemap URL, specifying where your sitemap is located.
You think it's more precise? Like, do you think something, you know what I mean? Like what?
What this will do is, first off, it's going to identify a lot just overall how your site's being crawled, right? Naturally, without, like, imagine your site.
I like that, the natural crawl.
Exactly.
There we go.
While the sitemaps are going to hone in on a lot of the pages you actually have in your sitemap.
You're telling them, hey,
exactly,
you're mapping it out.
Yeah. And overall, with the website area, if, let's say, we detect pages that are not in your sitemap, if we found that,
we forgot that.
We're going to tell you.
Forget it.
We're going to tell you that, okay, these pages are not inside of your sitemap.xml file. Okay. You should add them. So that's why I always say start there, because you'll be able to kind of hone in on those instead of if you only have, let's say, 50 out of your 75 pages in your sitemap, you crawl by this, there's 25 pages
that you're missing.
And that's why I always say crawl via website first. If there is an issue with it, just for everybody's knowledge right now, simply you can call into our support line or email us at mail@semrush.com. We have a little bit of insight as to, if your site is blocked at all, we may need to whitelist it. So we'll give you a little insight into that when the time comes.
Yes.
Now you do have the ability to prioritize AMP pages first. Now you don't have to do this, mainly because we're still going to pick up the data anyway. But overall, you can.
It's always there if you want to.
Now, after the domain and limit of pages, the second step is crawler settings.
Yes.
So first off, you can change the user agent that's actually being crawled, whether it's Semrush's crawler via desktop or mobile, and Googlebot, with desktop or mobile as well. Now, for just point of reference with both of these, they are essentially the same bots. The reason why we develop these is because sometimes we are blocked from literally people that just have no control over it being blocked naturally.
Yes.
And they have to contact
security
the host.
measures.
Exactly. Right. Because it's a crawler accessing every single portion of your site to make sure it's healthy. Really, hosting service can sometimes actually see that as malicious. So with that being said, both of these are set up almost the same, but they have different hats, if that makes sense. So one could be wearing
an Semrush hat.
Semrush hat.
I'll give that a sombrero.
Like a Nike hat, as an example. But they both are the same person, and they're both crawling it pretty much the same way, just with different logical methods behind it, but still pretty much the same. All right. So below this is the crawl delay. So in here, first off, this is going to be the fastest we can crawl a page, as you can see, the minimum delay. So it's just as quickly as possible. If you already have a crawl delay set in your robots.txt file, you'll be able to easily go in here and just select this option, and we will respect those settings you have given us. And of course, this is a very popular option, especially if you are a Shopify user.
Here we go.
This does
finally
alleviate a lot of issues with them not allowing you to edit the crawl delay you actually have active on your.
You hear that?
Shopify.
Yes. Shopify issues. All right.
What this will do is pretty much every 2 seconds, it's going to crawl one URL. So it's drastically slower than, for instance, this one, or even the respect to robots.txt, depending on your settings. So feel free. You do have the ability to use this, at any time. And you don't have to be a Shopify user. You can literally use this.
I thought it was, but it does help a lot, significantly.
It does,
So just to know, to put it out there. Hey guys. Okay.
Now, after this, of course, the next portion is allowing and disallowing URLs. In the site audit settings itself, this is called the mask section, as you can kind of tell up here, set masks. What this will do, if you're, let's say, for instance, a e-commerce cart, and you only want to crawl your products pages, you can easily set this up like that.
Only products.
It's only going to crawl your product pages. Okay. If you want to ignore those product pages, simply, and we'll crawl every other portion of the site.
Same thing. Just disavow it.
That's it. You literally disallow this from being crawled, and we will ignore this page once we reach it.
There we go.
Right. That's literally what it is. It's just like,
And we even give an example.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Give you a little
To
bit
the right.
of insight as to
Yeah.
what this does. Next portion is kind of relevant to the mask area, where this is going to help you kind of organize your site a little bit better. Now, I always recommend to not do, I mean, you can do this if you have a good idea of what your URL parameters are. As you can see, you can import them right here from GSC. But I always recommend, if you don't really know, first off, what URL parameters are, or if you're, let's say, you're just not as knowledgeable as to how many you actually have, don't use this.
Bypass it.
To start. Let it run. We'll pick up a bunch of variations, and I'll actually show you a nice little tip and trick to find those in your crawl pages report after the site audit has ran.
Nice. Okay.
All right. No, this is actually a newer feature to our site audit, which is actually giving you the ability to bypass website restrictions. So this is really helpful if you're, let's say, for instance, you're developing a new site, right? You're rebranding your business, and you really, before you do this big launch and big marketing campaign around your website, with the new branding or whatever it might be, I would recommend coming into here and actually using this and setting up either this portion, which is bypassing the disallow in the robots.txt, and the robots meta tag on your page, simply by uploading this file where you actually confirm your domain ownership. Really, so really easy to do that. Another way is actually via crawling through your credentials.
Nice.
So if you have, let's say, for instance, like you just have like a login portal, right? When you first access that page that only team members of yours can access, right? At that point, you can simply, as long as we find that specific login page, you'll be able to specify the username and password. For that, we do have a disclaimer right here, just letting you know, like, hey, we are going to store this for your website. You can literally delete this at any second of any day you want to. Okay, it's just storing there, so we can continuously recrawl it on the schedule you have provided us.
Yes, and this is new.
Yeah,
really nice.
All right, so the sixth and final step of the setup is just what's the frequency of the crawl. That's really the best way to put it. We'll tell you, as you can tell, you can skip this step if you really want to. You don't have to set this up, but by default, it is set to every Sunday. You can go in and change to any weekday,
whenever,
every day, or just one time. So yeah, you have the ability to really audit this.
And
now,
before you check it, here we go.
I was about to say, so this bottom one down here, what will happen is every single time an audit is complete, we will send you an email just letting you know about it. Now, for the rest of this, though, if you click through each one of these, this is active across the board. This is the same setting. So if I disable it here, for instance, it's going to disable it on the domain limit of check pages area.
Yeah.
All right.
I think you didn't check something. It won't let you start it. It's very. You have to remember every Yeah, that's
why I had
1 second. Yeah.
So once you get started with it, you can simply just click into it, let it go. Now the site will be crawled. Now
the other one is up there.
Yeah. So now that the site audit has been run, all right. Now this is a different project we set up, as you can tell. This is the setup one.
Yeah.
But we have this one right here being just the regular project itself. Now with this certain site audit, right? You first go into this. It's probably going to be a little overwhelming to start.
It's robust,
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Okay, and depending how many pages you have, depending how old your site is, depending how long you've kind of let it sit for a little bit, maybe, and not realize there's some issues. That's where we come into play. Kind of helping you iron out these issues.
At least we're detecting them, and now you can understand, what do I prioritize? Where do I start now? What do I do?
Yeah. So looking at these reports, I always recommend going from red to blue. Really.
Right. Hey.
High severity to things that you may have purposely done, like having a lot of permanent redirects, things like that. Maybe having certain, redirects in place that are maybe stealing a little bit from the crawl budget that's coming to your pages, but are done on purpose because of your campaign you're trying to focus on. So with that being said, you have your errors, warnings, and notices. We have some theme reports here, and this will focus around crawlability, site security, your performance of your website, of course, and even your internal linking structure. You will notice too, if you do have an international website with href language tags on your pages, you will be able to see what ISO code you have used, and if it's valid and up to par with what Google's really looking for in this area. Now, below this, you'll see top issues. Okay, if you do not know where to start, yes, you can go errors to notices if you want. But if you don't want to do that because it's a little too much, like too many things to cover and just the errors, start with top issues.
The top 3. There you go.
These are going to be the things that are most impacting your score, and really just overall the things that are really affecting your website. So that's why we put them here. Highly recommend going in and kind of honing in on these, and of course, just making sure you cover as much as you can.
Exactly.
Now, with the site audit, There are a lot of ways to use this tool to benefit your day-to-day, or to even, let's say, for instance, you're prospecting a new client. You want to get an idea of what you're going to get yourself into with a campaign. If this site, let's say, for instance, had a 10% total health score, and there was 3,000 errors and 20,000 notices.
Hey,
and
we've seen it. We've seen it all.
I have seen that number before, honestly. And you're like, let's say, for instance, you're trying to prospect a client with that many issues. Before even starting the SEO campaign, you now have to focus on fixing the site and its problematic issues that come with it beforehand. Yes. So this can't just really be used for your own site. You can use this for competitors to understand where they're currently positioned, really, when it comes to their health of their site. You can use it for your own sites. You can use it for prospecting or even client sites. There's so many avenues.
Prospecting is huge.
Yep.
Sending this to someone, when you're in an agency, they love to see this. Anyone you're prospecting.
Yep.
It looks, let's be real, it looks alarming when you see 3,000, 2,000 errors. You want them to be fixed. Yep. Why is that even happening? And what would you say when you're looking at a competitor, and you want to see where their downfalls, what are they?
So even with that being said, that's a great way to put it. Normally what I'll do in that case is go to crawl pages. Okay. On here, you're gonna be able to sort by a ton of info. Now, to get started, you can click this drop down and select any one of these to filter by. So let's say I want to filter by maybe pages that aren't in the sitemap, right? You can click on this and then see here that there are some that aren't showing up there. Now, you don't have to just use this. If you want to go more in depth, we do have our advanced filter right here, which in that case,
you can add as many as you want to.
Let's say, as an example, I wanted to, let's say there's pages of my competitors that are 4+ clicks away. I can literally click on this. Let me use a better example for that one. You can even click into here.
All right, HBO's killing it. All right,
yeah. Cool. But even in this case, I set it so it's 2, 3, or 4 clicks.
Hey.
If your whole site is, let's say, within 2 clicks, you can use this knowledge to understand exactly what the internal linking structure is of your competitors or prospecting clients, whatever it might be. Okay. That doesn't just stop there, though. You can sort by every single one of these, as you can tell. Pages that don't have canonical tags, so they don't have a preferred version set, if they're not in your sitemap, or if they are, if there's how many incoming internal links, outgoing, if they have AMP or accelerated mobile page links, etc. So there's so much power with this right now. I'm just going to reset that real quick so it's a little bit easier.
And it's easier.
Yeah.
Using those filters,
yes,
those advanced filters. Why not?
Yeah.
Easily find them. Just use the drop down.
And another way too is actually, as I said before, being able to go in here and analyze
filter by the page,
URL parameters even. Come in here and just type a question mark. You hit search. Now what you're going to see is on HBO. Whenever there is a question mark inside of the URL, that's what we're going to pull, and it's going to make it really easy for you to go in and analyze every page you have with those specific issues.
All right, there's a little tip and trick right there.
Yep.
You didn't think you could, but you can.
Yep.
Exactly.
And this way, at this point, simply I would tell you, keep this report up, or if you want to, export this.
And you can choose, what section you want, export right there.
And if you hit the gear icon, then go to remove parameters. Don't bother about typing the question mark. All you have to do is put the word of what starts after the question mark. So in this case, UTM as an example right here, or even ICID. You can do that right there as well.
And you're saying you would plug that in as a parameter.
Into
right
the parameter,
there.
Yep. Because there may be some instances, especially with e-commerce cards, I've seen this countless times, where some user or person that's using our tool will have let's say like a regular WooCommerce card or something of that nature set up with, let's say, a shirt, right? That shirt may have 5 different variations. When you click on the red or the blue or even maybe the black shirt itself, that's going to then change this specific URL parameter that changes the style and the data that's being pulled from the actual page itself. So with that being said, our tool, without being given those directions, really, without telling us like, okay, these aren't the same URL. I'm sorry, these are the same URLs. They're not duplicated at all, technically. That's where this comes into play to kind of give us direction. So you understand going into this, like, okay, I have 5 different colors associated with this shirt, for instance. Yes, they technically, according to Semrush, they're picking up as 5 different pages, but when you filter that out, technically they're not at the same time because they are of the same page with just different variations selected.
Nice. This is very good.
Oh, yeah.
And what else would you say, like someone, I guess, new to the tool, or maybe they've been in here for a while and they just want to know what are the sections I should really focus on in the site audit?
Now, overview, I would definitely start here, but these 4. I did give you a brief overview of what these are,
Mhm.
but as an example, crawlability. Okay, this will cover your site indexability and your crawl budget waste, which, as everybody knows, when it comes to SEO, this is a huge thing because you have to make sure crawlers are actually able to access your page.
If they can't, what's going to happen? They can't crawl it.
They
What are you
can't
going to
crawl
do?
Yeah, exactly.
How can you rank if you can't crawl?
If you have, let's say, 70% of your pages with temporary redirects or even permanent redirects, that is extra time for the crawler to go actually get to your page. So if there's two redirects in place, then what's going to happen is the crawler is then going to enter your site via the URL. It's then going to redirect it somewhere else and then redirect it again. And then by the time it actually reaches the content, is that going to be worth it? You know what I mean? Is that actually going to be, is that going to make an impact? Is that going to, yeah, at the end of the day, it's not a good thing to have. And that's why we give you the ability here to actually view this.
And what would you say looking at this right now for HBO, even though we're not consulting for them, but what would you think about looking at their crawlability?
So the crawlability itself, from what I can tell with the small crawl we did do, first off, I can see that there is some data blocks from crawling. That might be on purpose. I would also want to go in here and actually evaluate, let's say, pages that have large HTML size.
That was just clicking on the bar.
Yeah.
It brought you right to it. Okay.
And it'll bring you to the pages themselves and, in this case, the actual error itself as well.
Okay.
All right. As you can see.
All right.
And you can always fact check these too. If you want to actually click into this, we'll show you, for instance, the incoming internal links, outgoing, and of course the outgoing external links as well. You will be able to split by errors, warnings, and notices, so you get an idea of what other issues may affect this page. But overall, the whole report here is just meant to kind of guide you in the right direction of, in this case, which pages are too large. And you can always look at the inspect element area on Chrome and get an idea of how large this page is simply by doing this. Like if I were to load this real quick, I may need to log in, but hit inspect, right? Go to network. Let's really quickly refresh it. Ooh, did I lose that? I think I did. Hold on 1 second. Aha, here you are.
There you are.
But even here, we'll show you in this case, how big this file is across the board. We'll show you exactly down here, how many megabytes really the resources were, how long it took to load, everything. So it gives you a lot of perspective here. You don't have to use this. You can always use Google My Page Speed Insights as well. Either way, we're going to be able to help you and kind of guide you in the right direction with that.
Yeah.
All right.
So looking at the crawlability and what other would you go with their scoring? What else would you look at?
Pretty much I would say stick to these. If you're your first time in the site audit, start with these. Iron out all the crawlability, HTTPS, if applicable, of course, the international SEO area. If it's not, you don't have to worry about it too much. Site performance, and of course the internal linking. Each one of these were designed and they're themed reports to make your life a little bit easier when you're trying to really go through all this data. Highly recommend just focus on these to start. Then if there is some stuff left over, start with the top issues. And by the time you're done going through each and every one of these, I can almost guarantee you that these numbers up here will be a lot less big and a lot less scary.
Yes. And I know we get this all the time from users too. I want to get to 100%, for my total score. What do I have to do to get to 100%?
Work on your site. Think about it.
How long will it take?
That's subjective. Honestly, it really is. Because let's say, for instance, you go into your errors, you see that you have incorrect pages in your sitemap, and that is your only issue. Going in there and fixing those incorrect sitemaps may take an hour, may take 5 hours, depending on the quantity of them.
Depending on your life too, your workload. Oh my God.
Right. And even pages having too large of an HTML size, going in and analyzing what some of those elements might be that are actually, making your page go over that threshold is one of the most, obviously a very important thing. But
they're an error. They're severe.
Exactly. And you just have to make sure you're going to be able to compress them down or whatever it is. There might be a lot of work involved to fix that. So,
and I always say, don't really try to emphasize on that. I like the scoring and telling us what is the health score, but also prioritize your issues first and foremost. You know what I mean? Because hey, Rome wasn't built in a day, and so wasn't your website. We can't do this that quickly. It takes time.
Exactly. So the one last thing I do want to just stress right now for 1 second before I hand the reins over to Krista, is when you're looking at the Pages Crawl report, you should go in and connect your Google Analytics if it's applicable to your business. Okay. When doing so, you can even do that right here as well. I just wanted to show you there's 2 different options to do that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
What you can do is sort by your unique page views that we have pulled from GA. This will actually help you a lot, and more ways than one, to be honest with you. But overall, it's going to help you understand, okay, this is where a lot of my traffic's going. Maybe let's say, for instance, on the homepage of HBO, if they have those 18 issues right there, I connect it and I find out that, okay, the shop.hbo actually has more traffic going to it and less issues. Because of all that traffic going in, maybe I want to fix that first. Maybe I want to go in because of the amount of users actually visiting that page. Maybe I want to try to relieve all those issues right now and then focus on maybe the pages that aren't getting a lot of traffic later, and kind of get an idea of how they've evolved over time when we're able to apply these changes. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. B-Coop gave you that rundown of, if you want to know anything else about the site audit, or if you have any questions, remember, it's Digital Rush at semrush.com.
Yep.
If you guys have questions or anything else you want to ask, because now we're going to move on to the position tracking tool. So I'm going to go back out and go into our projects just so we can see the full dashboard. And I'm going to set it up with you real quickly. All right, so position tracking. This is a very powerful tool within SEMrush, and it's going to allow you to track your website's daily rankings for a set of target keywords. And besides that, it's going to give you a ton of features like tagging, sorting, filtering, and also you can export reports. You can schedule them daily, weekly, or monthly. And the last section that I really love is that you can also keep track of your competition, and also, besides that, SEO or PPC. So you have the option of keeping track of, your organic search terms or ads. So let's check it out. When you first log in and when we're setting this up, we want to choose the domain settings. So if I was HBO, maybe I just want to track the root domain. Hey, why not? The whole site. But I have a lot of times users ask, I just want to keep track of a product page, maybe a blog, a URL. Here you go. Don't forget you have this option in the very beginning, and you can change it even after you set it up. But make sure it's the correct domain you're even starting with, because you can't, you have to delete a project if you have the incorrect domain. But I like that down the road, if you want to switch it up, you can change to a subfolder, subdomain, or URL. Very easy. And then the second portion, that device and location. This is very cool because, hey, we allow you to finally take those keyword rankings to a local level if you want. You could go internationally too. We're not stopping you. We're global, baby. All right. So if we want to first start this off, why not United States right there? Or I could even type in a zip code and go down to where I live currently, but I will not. After that, you can choose the language. And then we also have the device. So desktop, mobile, or tablet data. You can have all three, but they'll be separate. And I'll show you in a second what that will look like, but you need one device and location at a time. But don't worry, you can have, all three eventually. After that, we chose the device and location. Now we're on to plugging in those competitors. I want to know every single day where my competitors stack up for the same list of keywords. So the ones that were suggested organically right here, they're obviously not direct competitors. They just rank for the same keywords organically as HBO. So that's why they're popping up. And you, at the end of the day, your competitors, your industry. So if you see someone here that makes no sense, don't get mad at us. They just rank for the same keywords. You can always type it in as well, any domain that you know. It doesn't have to be the root domain too. Remember, you can type in a subdomain, a URL, a subfolder. Just make sure when it comes into this section, it's the correct domain you want. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if DirecTV is, but hey, let's just test it out. I don't know who a lot of these people are, but let's have some fun. All right, so maybe they're not direct competitors, and same thing with the AdWords section. We're not saying they're direct rivals, but they rank for the same terms in AdWords that also HBO does. Okay, so I just added those for an example. You can have up to 20, remember? And you can always delete them too down the road. You don't have to, keep them.
Yeah, as Chris said before, actually, with part of this tool, you can add these later on. You don't have to add them now. If you want to do more competitive research before actually adding them into this report, you can 100% do so.
Yes. And a lot of people forget that. And also the last section, now we want to add that list of keywords that I want to keep track of every single day. So we have a lot of settings per usual of how to upload. Yeah, we want to help you out. So you could either type in the sandbox right here, the keywords if you want, manually. I sometimes copy and paste in here too. That's another option. And then we have the 3 other settings, connecting your Google Analytics and just directly integrating those terms from an Excel file, TXT or CSV. So you can do it right there. And then the last section that we always use, because hey, it's really easy, taking the keywords that we have in our database in Semrush. So not only choosing your domain, but also your competitors. Where are they ranking? Because if I'm not HBO, but what if I was, and I'm focusing on Big Little Lies right now, because it's a hit show. Hey, I want to rank for those terms. I could go into HBO, filter out Big Little Lies, or maybe, I don't think Hulu would rank for it, but I mean, you could see, and type that in. And then you can filter it by how many terms you want to pull, 10 to 200. So you can choose, I wonder, whoa, look, they probably, maybe they have a deal with HBO. I have no idea. But hey, we're finding out what terms they rank for that involve Big Little Lies.
Now, I do want to point this out too. With this tool itself, you don't have to add keywords up here, like as you see right now. If you've been using our keyword magic tool for a while as well, you can always use the keyword analyzer to
But that's not the tool we're going over today.
I know.
Brandon always likes to.
No,
here we go.
Hold up. So you have to set up this tool before you've actually imported any keywords anyway. So you're laying the base. That's what you're doing. You're laying the base.
Lay the base down.
You want to start gathering for it.
Lay that base.
You can always gather more keywords or semantically related ones directly from the keyword magic tool into the keyword analyzer.
And we'll do that another day. The keyword magic tool. The keyword magic tool is awesome.
Just wanted to show. Just wanted to stress that there is a functionality.
There's a lot of different ways. Our functionality is very vast. We got a lot out there. All right. So, okay, cool. And this underline, that scoring right there is for my Grammarly. So that's not an Semrush feature, just to let people know. It happens all the time. It's a great platform. Anyway, all right. So now we're going to add those terms. And down here, just a reminder, we always like to let you know where you're at with your limits. So just letting me know I'm adding 20 and I'm at 182. And don't forget, if you don't want those emails, uncheck that section. People always forget. And then you guys get mad at us. Just kidding. I mean, you could be mad, but it's really quick to uncheck that. Okay. So now I'm going to go back out to the one that we have set up already, since, it's going to load. But it will look like this once it's all set up. And instead of just judging a book by its cover, what's a visibility and freaking out? Let's click on it. Let's see. So don't get worried when you see that visibility. I know a lot of clients go, but don't worry. This is a new feature right there. It says new landscape. I like to kind of say that this is just another way of viewing kind of the overview.
It's kind of like a fancy. It's a fancy overview.
The fancy overview. Yes, I like that.
It gives you a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
one bigger.
Literally, it's the overview, but even more simplified, I guess. So checking this out, when you first start it too, you probably won't have a trend yet. We had this for a while, so that's why we have a trend. So definitely look at this, check it out over time. I like how we now at the bottom showing you, I guess, the pages that are improving, declining. We have the terms too. So you know exactly, what pages. And then the positive and negative impact. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Showing you which ones you're losing visibility.
This is a good place to go if you, let's say, for instance, are working on, like, an example, like new content, right? You're focusing on new content. You're, pushing all this man hours into it and stuff. And you come back like a couple weeks later and you realize you had a huge positive impact with all the articles related to
it's working.
Yeah. That's a good way to start with this. That's why, honestly, I love the landscape view because it's so much easier to view this.
Easier to see, to read, exactly. So very cool. So when we get into the overview, this is where you're going to see pretty much the original, where we always have it, that visibility score, and always comparing yourself to your competition. And when you will open this up, when it's all done, you will have to use the drop down because it will be clear, like you're not going to see anyone there. So just remember, drop down those competitors, 4 at a time, but 20 overall you can have. So yeah, they're right there. And checking out this visibility trend, we actually revamped this we made the color a little bit brighter, easier to see. And then down here, we actually make it easier for the user. You know what color you are. It's next to your domain at the bottom. But when we're checking this out, when we're looking at the visibility trend and throughout Semrush, remember, we always have the definitions right next to it. So if you want to know the algorithm, how we're finding this, and what is the definition to tell clients, or for just yourself to know, it's right there. But when you want to just get the shortened version of the visibility trend, letting you know how visible are you in that level. So we're looking at desktop data for the national level. And for those 51 keywords, who is the most visible for those terms? Yeah. That's a simplifying way, to look at it. And then down below, you can see exactly how you stack up next to your competition. You're side by side, and automatically your domain, you'll see all the positions you're ranking highly for. And just getting that understanding of, are they increasing their positions on the SERP? What SERP features do they have? So a lot of people get confused with this, but the icon next to the position, that's your SERP feature for that term. These are just letting you know what SERP features are out there for that term at the time. And a lot of people get confused, what are these icons? I guess sometimes they're kind of hard to see, but just hover over it. We tell you what it is.
Yeah, we tell you. And you can even filter, as you can tell by that. It makes it a lot easier. And
you can
just
always
for
filter.
A little bit of insight into this too, with the SERP features themselves, we do have a really nice knowledge-based article, which is located up at the top of the black navigation bar across Semrush. It's under the help section. On there, you can see the definitions behind each one of these. So if you don't know what site links are, that it's going to give you a clear definition behind that, so you know what you're getting into. Makes your life a little bit easier, and it kind of makes you more knowledgeable about what the SERPs are producing.
And I feel like everyone that says they don't know what they are, they actually do. You see them all the time, and you just don't notice it.
It's almost like you can't put a face to the name when you see somebody you haven't seen in a year.
Yes.
It's kind of like the same concept. You see it, you're like, wait a minute.
I'm telling you, you see it all the time. And I'll show you that article in a second when we get done that, so we can go to the knowledge base. But when you're looking at this, yes, you want to know every day where you're ranking. And if you just scroll over, you get that average volume and cost per click too. So if this was local level, you would get that. And that's why this is very powerful, because normally, in Semrush, it's the national level. So getting that local level data is huge. And something else just to touch on, also, I always like to view the SERP. So say if there's a rival out there and you're like, all right, they rank for the 6th position. I want to check this out. Just click on the position and there you go. You can view the SERP right away. And it's kind of like your evidence, checking it out. All right, it's exactly today. For desktop data, there's the phrase. We know exactly where. And you can also see other SERP features that maybe you didn't know were out there. Just knowing who's on the SERP, how are they writing their headlines? What do they have involved? And then I always like looking at the questions that Google is literally giving us. So maybe we could start optimizing for those terms if it relates to us.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So always interesting to see. Okay, so the SERP is always there for you. Just click on the ranking, and pretty much at the top, if you want, you could add tags, you could filter. So if I want to, I'd be like big, little lies. But if I choose that option, it's not going to let me. So I have to manage the tags. So if you type something in, we're not going to find it yet until you create a tag.
Yeah.
So big little lies. I know there's not that many, but hey, what if I want to filter it by big or something? Oh, it's right there. Select it. There we go. There's the tag. Big, whatever. So just add it to it. Add tags. There we go. And filter out from there. It's very easy, to filter these. Just remember, you first choose the options. So select all HBO, and then maybe filter by branded terms, because we know they are. So there it is. A lot of people like using tags. It helps them find the terms.
And even alternatively too, you can actually do that down here if you need to as well.
I know. It
You
just
can
gets
always
too
highlight-
manual.
I know.
Yeah.
But if you really want
Once
to
you
like
down
remove all
here-
the tags immediately, or even do this like in the thick of things and you're kind of in the trenches,
If you're
digging
down
through all the
here,
data,
you love it.
you can
Yeah.
really easily add or even remove keywords really easy. Down
Even
here.
more functionality. But that's if you, I don't know. I kind of prefer up here, but
Hey,
there you go.
to each-
You have
to each
their own. You
Yep.
have your preferences.
Yep.
Definitely. And I also set up multiple locations. So I wanted to tell you, you can have up to 10. You have to have the Guru or business subscription. The Pro does not have multiple locations and devices. So I set up 5 here, and you can see multiple, mobile, desktop, country, cities. So you have this at your fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even go to devices and locations, which I really like because I can see all of them at once. And where am I performing the best? What location, what device for the same terms. And down below, we do specify, where it's at, what terms.
Yep. That's perfect.
Yeah, which is very cool. You can also filter between your competitors too, if you want to see them. And the rankings and landing pages, ranking distribution, they're all awesome. Definitely something you want to look at down the road after you start it, because you can see a trend and your ranking distribution, compared to your competition. And you can see which ones are in the top 3, top 10, and so on. And just individually, go into that. The competitor discovery, I really like this. And I always tell our users about it. Because say if you don't know who your competitors are and you're just, maybe it's a new industry, you don't even know what you're in. If you type in the correct keywords that you want to rank for, and in that location, at the bottom, this is kind of like your leaderboard, I like to say. And we're telling you, hey, these are also the domains that rank very highly for those keywords, and telling you they're very visible for them. Obviously, Wikipedia is not a direct competitor, or maybe, YouTube, but it's just because
they're taking up the valuable search positions.
Yes, they're taking it up.
It doesn't matter if you're in the 6th position or if you're in the 2nd.
Doesn't matter.
If Wikipedia or YouTube's in the 1st position, that is not where you are.
No.
And that's why we are showing them as competitors.
Exactly.
They are ranking in your space.
And they're taking that visibility away from you.
Yep.
And you can always check out the keyword section. That tells you how many out of the 51 or whatever I chose that they rank for. And you can easily set them as a competitor or blacklist. Everyone sees that and goes crazy. Oh my God, What is that? It just removes them, honestly. 2 seconds, it removes them. You can add them back on.
And then you can also really quickly
go to it, check them out.
You can, do all this stuff you can see over here, but over here as well. But incredibly useful, especially if you want to do a quick
overview of
competitor research as well, whether it's a quick overview of their backlink profile, it's doing more organic research.
Who are they?
Business. Exactly. Or just getting an overall domain overview in this case. Like kind of just got with a little bit of pay, a little bit of everything.
A lot of people forget that gear icon.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's actually a common question that I get a lot is about like, how can we, without having to copy paste these to a separate file or export all this, how can we actually go about using this really easily and getting an idea of which ones are actually more relevant to our business that provide similar services? This is where you want to go with this, is to start here.
It'll take you right back out.
Yep. It'll take you right to organic research.
Who's Wikipedia? Yeah. Who are they?
But here you
who do they think they are?
It'll take you right there.
Just 86 million.
Yeah.
2.4 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. But no big deal. So we're going to come back out. Let's go back to the project. It took me back to, All right. Oh, okay. So before we leave the position tracking tool, I just wanted to show you guys that you can also filter it from, what is this?
Oh, I was literally
was that just telling me? Oh my God. We have our little
that.
tips and tricks. Hey, we're always trying to educate you guys. All right. So automatically it's going to default to organic, but you can filter it to ads, Google ads. So if you want to see, it's not going to permanently stay there. You can always filter it back and forth. Yeah. But if I want to get that quick insight, who also is ranking for the same terms, Amazon, you sly dog. They look at them. Yeah. All right.
This is incredibly important if you're a business or your competitors or even yours is running local ads. As you know, everybody knows our tools don't go to a local level with ads. In this case, we are able to go down to the zip code that you provided, city, doesn't really matter, even state level, and provide this data for you so you have an understanding of what you're looking at. So if you're running ads on a local level, set up this tool as soon as possible.
I'm not sure if they are, but yeah, you can filter it down to a zip code, city, whatever you want. Very interesting. Pretty cool. Wow. They're crushing it in LA.
Yes, they are.
Like if I went to, where were we? Okay. But how's everyone doing? Hope everyone's great. Hope you're learning a lot. We always teach this every day. We preach this. So I'm glad. All right. So now that you learned the ins and outs of the site audit and definitely the ins and outs of the position tracking tool, we're going to go on to the on-page SEO checker.
Now, the on-page SEO checker. Yeah, it's a
What
good
are you
tool.
gonna say,
It's
man?
a
What are you-
really good tool, but it can definitely be overwhelming.
Because we're short on time, where we won't do the setup, but we'll show you how
we'll
to.
show you exactly. Yeah, so the setup is pretty easy. Honestly,
Yeah.
you assign a landing page with a keyword you're trying to optimize it for, or if, let's say, for instance, you develop a whole piece of content surrounding a subject and you're using a keyword surrounding that on that page, then of course you'll want to assign that to it and see if it's optimized correctly. Okay.
Yes.
So as you can see via this drop down under the import keywords and pages, here you have 5 different methods of actually importing this data from Semrush's organic research report, from your Google Search Console, CSV, position tracking, and of course you can manually type them in. Each one of these are really, acceptable, and you can use any one.
And there's a lot of options.
Yeah, right. I know.
We're not limiting you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and like my favorite one personally is the position tracking report.
Because
If
it's
you already-
easy.
Exactly. You already have that data being collected. You can simply import right in here, and you get the results you're looking for.
Exactly.
Now, splitting this up by the total ideas, we have a nice little graph here giving you an idea really of which ones are focused on content, SERP features, so on and so forth.
And breaks it down right
They're
there.
all color-coded, as you see right here. The only one you really won't see today is actually the UX, which is the user experience ideas. This only is working if you actually hook up your Google Analytics account.
Definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
Why not get more insight on what else can we do?
Yep. Below this area, you're going to be your top pages to optimize. Now, these are obviously things you definitely need to pay attention to. So in this case, hbo.com/movies is pretty popular site. Has
look at that
a ton of volume
volume
going into it.
Yeah.
Let's go to the ideas and simply click on these. All right.
4.8 million.
Yep.
Okay.
It's insane. Yeah. So what you'll see first off is the URL of your choosing above, and you'll be able to see the 2 keywords you actually added during the setup process.
What you're trying to optimize for. You always know.
Yep. Now below this, you'll be able to see some strategy improvement areas where, if, let's say, for instance, you click into this, you can see that in this case, the keyword new movies, which is one of the 2 keywords we added, is currently ranking over position 100 for this page. But on HBO.com, it's actually ranking higher for what's new, what's leaving that page on HBO as well.
Yes.
So what are we telling you here? We're telling you that, okay, you're trying to optimize this page for a keyword you're already ranking for. So instead of competing with yourself, maybe you should go to the keywordmatic tool or something of that nature and
figure out another term.
Semantically related keywords to that. Because in this case, movies make sense. New movies are irrelevant all the time. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So finding different variations of that is definitely important. And this is where the really deep diving into the keyword research comes into play.
And when it says reassign pages and keywords, I know a lot of users, first time in this, they think, oh no, is this really going to happen on my site? No, it's not happening in the back end. We're not doing anything. This is just your template and kind of like your cheat sheet to help you out.
Yep.
So don't think we can't. But I know a lot of people just seeing that are like, whoa there, just to let you in on that.
Like even in here, what we did was because I selected that and turned essentially
It just did it.
Removed it. Yeah. I recrawled it again and now it's gone.
There you
so
go.
Now this page is, as far as strategy is concerned, is actually optimized correctly.
Exactly.
Now there are a ton of other pieces of information here, as you can probably tell.
You can see.
Whether it's adding our aggregate ratings or marking it up essentially to your pages themselves, it will give you some insight to it. So it's going to tell you right here in this case, it's going to help you with your click-through rate by adding a little bit of structured data to your pages. While below, content is just that. It's going to make sure you're using these keywords in the appropriate places. If you have H1s throughout your page, you're not using your target keyword, or you're maybe not even like a broad match or, whatever it might be, a semantic related keyword surrounding that, you're kind of losing that traction a little bit. That's why we're showing you this. We're showing you right now that in your content, you should have it on your meta tag. Your target keyword should be focused on your H1. If you're writing content, you should definitely make sure you're making it as informative as possible.
Just because your rivals are, why are you not?
Yep.
And that's what we're always comparing you to. And in the different sections, we always tell you as well, you know, we're comparing you to your top 10 ranking rivals. And where we're gathering that from is when you initially set it up, you choose the level, the national level, desktop or mobile, and also the term. You know, what is that? And you're obviously going to have some big contender. I mean, it's movies. Wikipedia, you know, is number one, probably.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so just continuing through the rest of this, it's really,
kind of self-explanatory.
It's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, right. That's a perfect way to put it.
You see it?
You can see here, text more readable. That just means your content is probably very difficult to understand compared to your rivals. If there's any semantic areas, so if the page's content is pretty diverse and it's not just like run-on sentences all over the place, stuff like that, that's where we'll tell you about this.
We give you ideas.
We'll give you ideas to kind of enhance that or make it a little bit better. Backlinks. So this is really cool. If you, let's say, for instance, with all these rivals, don't have any association with some of these backlinks, we'll actually tell you these right here. And
who are they?
The ability to reach out to them for a possible backlink.
We know it's difficult, but hey, it's still out there. Why not? You know, try to link.
Actually, the last portion of this, because I already explained the UX area, is the technical issues. If you have run a site audit, this will show up.
Exactly. It directly integrates, you know, goes right to the site audit. And you will have those different recommendations right here once we add that. And if you see something too that you're like, I'm a little iffy on this, you know, a little wonky, maybe foggy, we always provide you with a detailed analysis, a definition, so to say, right here. It's always there. So we always want to tell you, you know, what are we improving? And it's kind of easy too with that, you know, bullet point. It's your template, mapping it out for you, what you could do in each page to improve. And you can also send these ideas to Trello. We also have a Trello integration in Site Audit. We have a lot of Trello integrations.
We really do. So if people use Trello, start organizing.
Why not? I know he used to love, I don't know if you still love Trello.
I do.
Do you?
I do. Yeah, I still use it.
Okay. So he loves Trello. But you can always here too, say you're looking for keywords or certain sections, filter, very easy. You know, just easily filter, find those pages, you know, make your life a little bit easier. And if there's a section that maybe I want to delete a page, you know, I don't want to focus on this anymore, I'm good. Or I want to edit the actions gear wheel. I know it's really small, but a lot of people bypass it. Hey, you could add on keywords or just, you know, delete the page or edit. So you always have that option. And then you can recrawl individual pages, not the entire campaign. And that's something else people love because that will go against that will crawl for you. So you want to make sure it's the precise one, because what if you're not ready yet, or you know, you don't want to?
At the end of the day, this tool is phenomenal for really helping.
It is really helpful.
It's going to help you understand like where your current status is with your actual on-page data. Like technical issues are one thing with the site audit that covers, of course, but then making these changes as well they go hand in hand so efficiently because they're going to be able to give you that insight. They're going to be able to tell you, okay, you have a lot of technical issues, but you also have a lot of content issues. You should alter them as well. Maybe you're not targeting the right keywords. This is where this tool really shines, and highly recommend every single person, even if it is just going in and setting up one page and testing.
Why not? Check it out.
Set it up, try it out, see what happens.
Get those ideas. And the other tab that's very helpful, the top 10 benchmarking. So giving you a SERP analysis for all of the keywords that you plugged in. It's really cool because you could check off right here, show keywords that trigger the featured snippet. So if there are any, you know, we tell you which one. But say you want to search for a keyword again, you know, you have that search bar. But for example, check this out. You know, Big Little Lies, they should probably be ranking very highly. I mean, it's their show. Exactly. They should be. So view the full analysis. So we tell you exactly where you're at, you know, for that page, what position. So 100 plus, you know, past the 10th page on Google. All right, not good. And there's the volume for it per month. So here we go. They are obviously number one, but it seems like this was like a page about the cast and crew. So if they want to optimize for that term, we're showing them wherever you see kind of like the red, where is it indicating their weak spots, where they need to improve.
And this is just more insight, really, at the end of the day. Again, we're moving away from the page for the most part. We're now focusing more on the analysis of the search engine result page. So in this case, obviously, there's a lot more that goes into play. Like when it comes to what rivals are doing. In this case, for content length, top 10 average for everybody is 1,308 words. While in this case, this page only has 64.
Hey.
So there's a big improvement right there.
Definitely
start
bump
writing
that up.
content, expanding
It's
on
cast
it.
and crew.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Make up things. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. And then right here, the referring domains, bump that up.
Yep.
Look at that. Markup as well, and readability. And that's based off of the Fletch-Kincaid readability score. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Idea tasks honestly just manages.
It's like a nice little organizational area. So if you, I actually, it's funny. I actually have a couple clients that start here.
Oh God.
Mainly because what they'll do is they'll sort right here by a certain specific category and just knock them all out and then go to the next one.
Because there's a lot. There's a lot.
I'm like, hey, more power to you. Alternatively, you can always sort up here as well, really easily. And if you want to, set a comparison meter in this case to kind of give you a little bit of direction, you can do all that right there. So
really cool.
Yeah.
And you can also write your own notes right here. A lot of people bypass these little diamonds. You'll see them throughout the tool. Yeah. But you can always add your own notes, especially if you're in a team and you guys want to keep track of what you're doing, project management. Don't forget, you can add notes. But very cool. Okay, to do, everything done. That looks nice. You can export that too. It's a PDF. Looks nice saying, I did this. Okay. All right, guys. So I know we went through a lot. Wow, 3 tools. That's still a lot for anyone to take in. I'll admit that. So I was going to say, guys, thank you so much for always attending. Mm-hmm. And Brandon, any last words?
Not really. I mean,
you had fun though, right?
Yeah, I had a blast. Yeah,
he loves this. Are you
honestly,
kidding me?
One thing I will say before we leave today is that just don't overwhelm yourself. I'm serious. When you are doing these things, don't overwhelm yourself.
You can easily. It's a lot.
Yeah, take your time, focus on the technical portions, then tackle the copy. Focusing, because obviously focusing on the tracking is one thing, and obviously numerical values matter to your business. But seriously, when I say this, just focus on fixing your data first.
Site audit first.
Mm-hmm. And then stuff, and then start tracking things. Track that progress that you've made. This way you
position tracking.
Exactly. You know. Yeah. And that's what I mean is cover the technical, content-based, and then of course track that data to see how your site evolves with better rankings.
Yes, exactly. So I hope you guys know the 3 main SEO tools now. Let us know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you're happy, with our webinar series. Let us know. It's going to be Digital Rush at semrush.com.
And what I actually will ask is if anybody has any suggestions for future webinars, feel free to email into our email address as well. And, hey, we'll take those in consideration.
Let us know. What would you guys like for the next webinar? Yeah, it probably would be the beginning of September if we can, because, So let us know what you want us to discuss within SEMrush. And we could also tie in, digital trends because, hey, that's why you use our tool. So let us know, guys, and thank you so much again.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a great day.